Hey everyone, King Recap here. Today we are gonna recap a horror zombie drama called The Walking Dead. Watch out and take care. We open on an eerily quiet intersection. The camera pulls back, revealing an overturned car and truck, silent witnesses to a world gone wrong. A sheriff's cruiser rolls up, and out steps Deputy Rick Grimes, a man about to have his world turned upside down. He cautiously surveys the scene before approaching a gas station. More abandoned vehicles, scattered laundry, discarded baby dolls, and makeshift campsites paint a grim picture. A dead woman rots in one of the cars, a stark reminder of the horror that has unfolded. Grimes, carrying a gasoline canister, is on a desperate search for fuel, but a sign at the station declares the pumps are bone dry. Suddenly, a small, shambling figure appears in bunny bath slippers. It's a young girl. "Don't be afraid," Grimes reassures her. She turns, a zombie. Grimes doesn't hesitate. He raises his gun and, with a sickening thud, blows her brains out. "Welcome to the apocalypse, Mr. Rick." Flashback. Rick and his partner, Shane, are taking a break, sharing lunch in their cruiser. They're discussing the age-old differences between men and women. Rick opens up about a recent spat with his wife, Lori, and their son, Carl. "It's like she's constantly annoyed with me, and I can't figure out why," Rick confides to Shane. Their conversation is abruptly cut short by an urgent call. A car is careening wildly, pursued by a convoy of cop cars. Rick and his team quickly set up a roadblock. The weaving car swerves, flips violently multiple times, and finally comes to a stop in a nearby field. Two bloodied men crawl out of the wreckage, guns blazing. They open fire, and Rick is hit. The officers return fire, swiftly neutralizing the threats. Rick, protected by his bulletproof vest and only grazed, thinks it's over. He stands up, and is shot again. Turns out, there's a third armed man still inside the wrecked vehicle. Shane, quick to react, raises his shotgun and obliterates the assailant. He then rushes to Rick's side. Rick is severely injured. Things look dire. Cut to the hospital. We experience events through Rick's hazy, disoriented perspective. Shane visits, bringing flowers. Time blurs. How much time has passed? Rick eventually awakens. The flowers are withered. The clock on the wall has stopped. He tries to move, but his muscles have atrophied. He falls to the floor. "Nurse? Help!" Rick weakly calls out. No answer. Rick manages to stumble into the hallway, only to discover a scene of utter chaos. Gurneys, papers, and medical equipment are strewn everywhere. Worse still, a hospital employee lies dead on the floor, gruesomely dismembered. A set of double doors nearby is chained shut, a chilling warning scrawled across them. "Don't open. Dead inside." Rick, sensing immense danger, wisely backs away. The doors begin to bulge and shake violently. Something horrific desperately wants out. Rick retreats to a darkened room with a descending staircase. Using only a match for light, Rick eventually finds an exit. He's momentarily blinded by the bright daylight outside. The sight that greets him is horrifying. Dozens of dead and rotting bodies, wrapped in hospital sheets, litter the grounds. Rick is utterly aghast. Rick stumbles away from the hospital, finds a bicycle, and desperately races home. "Lori!" he cries. "Carl!" But the house is silent, empty. His family is long gone. Crying, Rick walks outside. Something approaches him from behind, slowly. It's a living boy. The boy, Dwayne, swings a shovel, knocking Rick to the ground. The boy's father, Morgan, rushes up and realizes Rick isn't a zombie after all. Rick passes out from the blow. For the second time that day, Rick wakes up in a bed, disoriented. He's tied to a bed inside a suburban home. "Did you get bit? Maybe scratched?" Morgan asks, concern etched on his face. Rick explains that he was only shot. The trio then sits down for a meal, and Morgan explains that the streets are teeming with walkers. The process, he describes, is simple yet terrifying. Bites kill you, a subsequent fever burns you out, and then, after a while, you come back. Dwayne looks out the window at the Walking Dead, and spots his mother. He cries, and Morgan does his best to comfort his son. "She died in the other room in that bed over there," he explains to Rick, his voice heavy with grief. "I should have put her down. I just didn't have it in me." The next morning, Rick returns to his home with Morgan and Dwayne. He notices that all the family photo albums are gone. Rick theorizes that his family fled, taking their most personal belongings. Dwayne suggests they probably headed to Atlanta, where the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is located. The trio then heads to the police station for hot showers. The station has its own propane supply, and to gather weapons and ammo. Rick then says his goodbyes to Morgan and Dwayne, who load their supplies into a nearby Jeep. Rick lingers just long enough to dispatch a zombie deputy he once knew before driving away in his squad car. Destination: Atlanta. First though, Rick stops at an area park to put a female zombie, cut in half and crawling pathetically out of her misery. "I'm sorry this happened to you," Rick says through tears, before shooting her in the head. Meanwhile, Morgan and Dwayne return home. Dad tells his son to wait downstairs before heading to the upstairs bedroom. There, Morgan takes aim at zombies in the street with a scoped rifle. He shoots 2. Before spotting his wife. Shaking, Morgan takes aim, but he can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Zombie mom shambles away. Morgan weeps, a man broken by impossible choices. Sometime later, Rick uses his police radio to see if anyone responds. Unbeknownst to Rick, a group of survivors does hear Rick's message. He can't hear their answer. It turns out that the group, which has made a camp in a field, includes Shane, Lori, and Carl. Lori tells the group that they should have set up a roadside sign warning people against going to Atlanta, which is apparently teeming with zombies and completely unsafe. Shane tells her that they simply don't have time. She storms off to a tent. Shane enters to talk her down, and the two end their conversation with a passionate, illicit kiss. Uh-oh. Cut to Rick, who comes upon a farmhouse where the inhabitants chose to end their lives rather than face a zombie-infested world. Rick, searching for gas, spots a horse in the yard. He decides to abandon his cruiser and ride the steed. "Go easy, okay?" he tells the animal. "I haven't done this for years." Riding the horse, Rick soon approaches Atlanta. The city appears empty, save for crashed cars, empty army helicopters, and burned-out buses. And, sure enough, zombies begin to emerge. Suddenly, Rick hears the sound of a helicopter. He spurs the horse to follow it, turning a corner into a side street absolutely packed with zombies. Quickly turning around, Rick flees, only to run into another massive horde. The sheriff is pulled from his horse, which quickly becomes zombie fodder. Rick then crawls underneath an army tank and begins firing wildly. He then notices a hatch in the bottom of the tank and pulls himself into the belly of the steel beast, slamming the hatch shut behind him. He crawls up against a seemingly dead soldier and takes his gun. While looking away, the soldier comes to zombie life. Rick shoots him in the head just in time. Safe, for now. Inside the tank, Rick can hear the undead swarming all over the vehicle. He's filled with despair when, suddenly, a voice crackles over the tank radio. "Hey you, dumbass," the voice says. "You in the tank? Cozy in there?" Rick's eyes go wide. "Who is that?" To be continued. Like and subscribe for more and click the bell notification to be notified when we upload. Thanks for watching.